words. Now here's the thing, there's only truly one way to influence mindset and perception, and that is through the experiences that you provide to people. And this is where this becomes interesting and incredibly powerful. Because the reality is, every single time you have an interaction with another human being, you are providing them with an experience. So if I want to be an influencer, what I do is I provide experiences on purpose to get the result that I'm going for. Does that make sense to everybody? And I'm going to tell you again, this is one of the reasons this is so powerful. Because the majority of the human population, quite honestly, is asleep. The majority of folks in our workplaces and that we deal with on a day-to-day basis are just living their lives. It's not good or bad. But they're coming to work on Monday morning, they're going through their Monday routine, they're going home, they're fixing a little dinner, watching a little TV, going to bed, getting up on Tuesday, doing that routine all week long. Friday comes around, woohoo, we go drink a little beer, we sleep in a little bit later on Saturday morning, then we get up, we got to do the laundry, got to wash the car, got to take the kids to the soccer game, got to do the grocery shopping, get the house cleaned, all of that wonderful stuff we do so that we can relax on Sunday, and then Sunday afternoon comes around, we get the dreaded Sunday syndrome, and then we go back to work Monday morning, we do it all over again, we do it for 30 years, we retire, sit in a rocking chair for a couple of years and die. Life's good, isn't it? Quite honestly, the majority of humanity, in some capacity, is basically doing that. And again, it's not about right or wrong, good or bad. We want people to do what they want to do. But for the sake of being an influencer, this makes grand opportunity available to us. All you have to do is wake up and start using this on purpose to influence the thoughts, feelings, behaviors of other human beings. And you do it with every interaction you have with that other human being, whether it's a coworker, somebody that reports to you, one of your children, your boss's boss, whoever it is you want to influence. This works in all directions equally as well. So now the question must be, if I want to influence behaviors, would I approach every single person exactly in the same way? No, because the reality of this also is, in mass, you realize human beings, we're all pretty much the same. However, one to one, we're all very unique. So if I wanted to influence Darren, I might approach him quite a bit differently than I would approach Bob, if I know them a little bit. And that is what we call being situational. How many of you have ever seen any of Ken Blanchard's work, Situational Leadership and all of that? You know, that's directly related to what we're talking about here. But the whole point, we don't need to get real complex about it. You simply do your best to understand where somebody's coming from, and you provide them an experience that's going to feed them from a capacity of what's in it for them, and you can get them to do anything you want them to do. It's simple. All right. Now, part of what makes us unique are these three things down here, if you want to fill these in. Role modeling, verbal conditioning, and specific events. Let's see how much time I have here. Okay. Role modeling, verbal conditioning, and specific events. How many of you have ever heard before that by the time we're about 5 or 6 years old, our basic worldview is formed? You ever heard that before? Nobody's ever heard that before. Okay. Who are our primary role models from the ages of 0 to 5 or 6? Our parents. Have you ever heard the term before, the sins of the fathers? That's where it comes in, right there. We tend to adopt, and there's good stuff too, it's not just bad stuff, but we tend to adopt the worldview and the general perspectives of our parents because that's what we're observing and seeing and interfacing with from the time we're about 0 to 6. At 6 we start going where? To school, and then we start being influenced by teachers and, et cetera, on through life. So that's role modeling. Fundamental role modeling takes place in our early formative years. Now, here's one of the things, this is a little lagniappe for you. Who could tell me what lagniappe is?
A little something extra.
A little something extra, no extra charge. Okay? So here's a little lagniappe for you. I want you to internally answer this question. This is a question that Albert Einstein considered to be the most fundamentally important question for any human being. And I don't want to see a show of hands. I just want you to answer and pay attention to the first answer that comes to your mind when I ask you this question. Do you consider the universe to be a friendly place to live? Your answer to that question says volumes about how you conduct your life. If the initial thought that came to your mind was no, and it's legitimately no, you may think about it from different angles, oh, that's not what I was thinking, but if it's legitimately no, that's the first thing you need to go to work on if you want to be a good influencer in this world. You cannot be a positive role model and put positive energy out there and make this world a better place if you're answering that question no. So go to work on that. There are undoubtedly some people in here who, for whatever reason, are answering that question no. That's very, very important. Do whatever you need to do to turn that no into a yes. All right? So that's role modeling. Verbal conditioning. Again, profoundly impactful upon us during our formative years, our first few years in school. Do you realize how critical your first few interactions are in school as to whether or not you like your entire school career or not? I loved school. And I don't remember the instances, but back in kindergarten, Mrs. Jones must have given me some really positive experiences. And I ran with them, man. I loved school all the way through. I loved it. How many of you hated school? Hated it. Or hate's a strong word. How many of you didn't like school at all? How many of you loved school? All right, human performance professionals. I love it. But that's true. It really oftentimes doesn't have anything to do with your learning ability or anything else. It's those initial experiences that you had, and a lot of that had to do with verbal conditioning. You know, there are probably some people in here in this room who grew up being told absolutely horrible things. Things such as, who the heck do you think you are? You're fat, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're too short, you're too tall, you're skinny, you're never going to live in a house like that, you're never going to drive a car like that. And I would tell you, if any of you in this room, right here now, grew up being told garbage like that, I want to congratulate you. Because the prisons are filled with people that were told stuff like that when they were growing up. And you sitting in here today, if you were told stuff like that, you have done a really good job of overcoming that. So congratulations. On the other hand, some of us were blessed to grow up being told stuff like, man, you can go anywhere you want to in life. You can have anything you want. All you got to do is do whatever it takes to get there. I love you. You're wonderful. That's the kind of stuff I was told when I was growing up. I was very, very blessed. What that does, again, is it helps establish our worldview. Now, so what are specific events? Specific events are those key things key experiences we've had in life that for whatever reason had an inordinate impact upon our view of things. And we've all had them. And most of the time, I mean, they can be some very traumatic things, but oftentimes there's some silly little things that for whatever reason just wiped us out. And I'm going to